Hello and welcome to today's lesson. We are looking at time. So we first start by asking ourselves, what brings about the differences in time? Okay, the differences in time are brought about by the rotation and revolution of the earth around the sun. So as the earth revolves around the sun, then it brings about the different times of the day. We discover that a day has a total of 24 hours. So we have a day that has a total of 24 hours. And out of the 24 hours, we have 12 that are 12 hours for the day. Then we have 12 hours for the night. So we started by saying that revolution brings about the difference in the hours, so that we have 12 hours where we experience the sun and 12 hours where we do not experience the sun, and that is what brings about the day and night. Then another thing is that the earth revolves around the sun, taking a given period. So the period that the sun takes to revolve around the sun is a full year. So the sun takes a whole year to rotate around the sun. The earth takes a whole year to revolve around the sun. And in the process of the revolution, we are having the year being formed. We have the ordinary year and the leap year. When we are talking about an ordinary year, we are talking about a year that is made up of 365 days. When we are talking about a leap year, we are talking about a year that has 366 days. So an ordinary year has 365 days. A leap year has 366 days. In a leap year, the month of February has 29 days. In an ordinary year, the month of February has 28 days. So we discover that a leap year occurs after every 4 years. In a period of every 4 years, then we will experience a leap year. So this brings about an extra day for every 4 years. So that means that the earth will take 365 days and a quarter days. We are talking about an extra day in every 4 years. So 365 days and a quarter, 365 and a quarter days to revolve around the sun. So this is what brings about the a quarter in the period the earth takes to revolve around the sun. So we say that we have an extra day in the leap year, and the leap year occurs after every 4 years. So what does it mean? That revolution of the earth will take 365 days, 365 and a quarter days to revolve around the earth. So that is about the introduction of the time, that for us to experience the difference in time, then the earth is revolving around the sun. And in the process of revolving around the sun, we have the number of hours that will be experiencing the sunshine and those number of hours that we will not be experiencing the sunshine, which brings about the day and night. So a day is made up of 24 hours. So we have 12 hours that we experience sunshine, and we have 12 hours that we do not experience the sunshine. The revolution of the earth around the sun will take 365.25 days. In that, we are saying that we have an ordinary year and a leap year. In an ordinary year, we have 366 days. In a leap year, we have 366 days. Ordinary year, 365 with 28 days in February. A leap year, we have 366 days with 29 days in February. So a leap year is occurring after every 4 years, meaning at the end of it all, our revolution of the earth will take 365.25 days. Then, as we are looking at time, so many questions come into our mind. We ask ourselves various questions. For instance, we could ask ourselves, what is the next leap year? Because we are saying that a leap year will occur after every 4 years. So how will we tell that this is a leap year and this is not a leap year? So one way to identify if we are having a leap year or not, just take the year, divide by 4. So if the year is divisible by 4, it means that we are having a leap year. For instance, if I'm having 2008, so take 2008, divide by 4. 2008, if we divide by 4, we discover that the number is divisible by 4. In that, this will be 502. So the year is divisible by 4, and being the fact that the year is divisible by 4, then it means 2008 is a leap year. So you can have so many questions that are moving in the mind, so that you try and ask yourself so many questions. We are talking about February having 28 days in an ordinary year and February having 29 days in a leap year. So you try and ask yourself, how many days do we have, like for instance, in February in the course of this year? So as you are asking yourself, you try and find out, this year, is it a leap year or is it an ordinary year? So we are talking about 2017 as the year that we are currently. So we can find out, is our year divisible by 4 or not? So that if my year is divisible by 4, then it is a leap year. But if it is not divisible by 4, it means that it is an ordinary year. So 2017, so 4 into 25, 0, 4, and we have a remainder, meaning that this is not a leap year, it is an ordinary year. So after knowing that this is an ordinary year, then it means February in 2017 had 28 days. You can try and ask yourself in the process of looking at time, and we are asking ourselves, which months have 30 days, which months have 31 days. So we try and find out from our calendar, which month do have 30 days, which ones have 31 days, which ones have 28 days, which ones have 29 days, and so on. So if making a table for the months of the year, so that I have January, so starting from January, we discover that January has 31 days. February, depending with which type of the year it is, if it is an ordinary year, then it has 28 days. If it is a leap year, then it has 29 days. Next is March. Then we have April, we have May, June, July, we have August, September, October, November, and December. So from there we can now be able to tell how many days are in each and every month. So they help us identify the number of days that are there in each and every month. So that January has 31, February, depending with which type of year it is either 28 or 29, then 31, 30, 31, 30, then we have July and August, 31, 31, 30, 31, 30, 31 as the number of days in each and every month. After knowing that, then we need to ask ourselves, what are these units that are used in time? So units the units of time. And as we are looking at units of time, then we have the standard unit. And the standard unit of time is seconds. So depending with how many they are, if it is one, then it is a second, but if there are many, then we have seconds. The time in seconds can be converted to various other units that are used when calculating time. So the immediate unit from second, then we are talking about if we have 60 seconds, the 60 seconds are equivalent to 1 minute. So this is a minute. Then if I have 60 minutes, 60 minutes are equivalent to 1 hour. Then from 1 hour, we need to convert the hours to days, then 24 hours. We've already said we have 12 hours for the day and 12 hours for the night. So that will mean a total of 24 hours will be equivalent to 1 day. Then another unit from a day, we move on to a week. So a week is made up of 7 days. So 7 days are equivalent to 1 week. Then from 1 week, we need to move on and find out how many years do we have and so on. So in a week, after the week, then we discover that we have months. So we are talking about 1 year being equivalent to a total of 12 months. So from here, you discover that we've not converted our months, the weeks to months. And we have situation whereby we have what is known as an odd day. We've just said that a year is made up of 365 days when it is an ordinary year. But when it is a leap year, then we have 366 days for a leap year. So we are expecting that 7 days will make up 1 week, and from a week we have 4 weeks that are supposed to give us a month. So if I'm having 365 days in a year, so this means that if I have 365 days divided by 4, then 4 into 36, we have 9, then 4 into 5, that is 1, and we have a remainder of 1. So what does it mean? That we have 1 day that is remaining. That day that is remaining is known as an odd day. So in an ordinary year, we have 1 odd day. But in a leap year, then if I divide, I'm having a remainder of 2, so that I have 366, divided by 4, we will get 91 and a remainder of 2. So meaning in a leap year, we have 2 ordinary days. Not ordinary, but we are talking about 2 odd days. So we discover that we have what is known as an odd day, such that this does not make up a complete week. We have something that is remaining to complete our given 4 weeks. So whatever is remaining is what is known as an odd day. So in an ordinary year, we have 1 odd day. In a leap year, we have 2 odd days. So we were having the conversions of time, and we are talking about 60 seconds making up 1 minute, 60 minutes will make up 1 hour, 24 hours will make up a day, 7 days will make up a week, then we have 4 weeks making up a month, and 1 year will be made up of 12 months. So from there we can look at some questions that are requiring us to convert from one unit to another. So let us look at conversion of units of time. So we have to convert the times that we've been given to the units in brackets. The first one is we have 3 days, and we are supposed to convert 3 days to minutes. So 3 days converted to minutes. The first step we take, we convert first the number of days into hours, because we know that 24 hours will be equivalent to 1 day. So we are having 3 days. So what about the 3 days? So this means if we cross multiply, then we are going to get what is required of us. So we have 24 times 3 divided by 1. 24 times 3 will give us 4 times 3, that is 12. 3 times 2, that is 6, plus 1, we have 7. So 3 days is equivalent to 72 hours. The question is asking us to convert it to minutes and not hours. So it means we are not yet through with our calculation. So we come to conversion from hours to minutes, and that means that we have 60 minutes is equivalent to 1 hour. So what about 72 hours? So this means that I'm having 60 times 72 divided by 1. So this is 60 times 72 divided by 1. So this means that I have 72 times 6, which will give us 6 times 2 is 12, carry 1, then 7 times 6 is 42, 42 plus 1, we have 43, but remember it was 60, so it means I add the 0. So that means that 60 times 72 will give us 4,320 minutes. The other question, we have 30 months. We need to convert the 30 months to years. We all know that a year is made up of 12 months. So 1 year is equivalent to 12 months. So what about the 30 months? So if I cross multiply, then I have 1 times 30 divided by 12. So this is 1 times 30 over 12. 3 into 30, that is 10. 3 into 12, we have 4. 2 into 4, that is 2. 2 into 10, we have 5. So this is 5 over 2. 5 divided by 2. 2 into 5, that is 2. We have a remainder of 1, so it is 2.5 years. So that means that 30 months is equivalent to 2.5 years. So the next question, we are required to find the number of part A. We have seconds in 2 minutes. So we need to find out how many seconds are there in 2 minutes. So using our conversion, we know that 60 seconds is equivalent to 1 minute. So we are having 60 seconds is equivalent to 1 minute. So what about 2 minutes? So we need to find out how many seconds are there in 2 minutes. We simply cross multiply to find the value we are looking for. So this will mean that we have 60 times 2 divided by 1, and 60 times 2 is simply 120 seconds. So we discover that 2 minutes will make up 120 seconds. Number of hours in 120 minutes. So we convert the minutes to hours. We know that 60 minutes is equivalent to 1 hour. So we are looking for how many hours are there in 120 minutes. So 120 minutes. How many hours will make up the 120 minutes? So this means that I have 120 times 1 divided by 60. 6 into 6, 1 into 12, 2. And we find that we have 2 hours in 120 minutes. Part C. So we are supposed to find how many hours are there in 3 days. So we need to find out 3 days has how many hours. And we know that a day is made up of 24 hours. So 24 hours is equivalent to 1 day. What about 3 days? How many hours are they? So if I cross multiply, then it means I have 24 times 3 divided by 1. 24 times 3, that is 4 times 3, we have 12. So write 2, carry 1. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1, we have 7. So we find that 3 days has 72 hours. Then next we need to find the number of weeks in 35 days. So how many weeks are there in 35 days? We all know that a week is made up of 7 days. So 1 week is equivalent to 7 days. we are looking for how many weeks will there be in 35 days. So how do I get the number of weeks in 35 days? We cross multiply so that we have 1 times 35 divided by 7. 7 into 35 is 5. So we discover that 5 weeks is equivalent to 35 days. Next, we need to look at an idea. We say that a day is made up of 24 hours, and out of the 24 hours, we have 12 hours for the day, and we have 12 hours for the night. So with this, it brings us to clock systems, and the first clock system we have is the 12-hour clock system. So when we are talking about the 12-hour clock system, this is whereby we use the AM and the PM. What does it mean? That AM is implying to the time of the day that is before the midday or before noon. This one refers to the time of the day that is before noon, and PM refers to the time of the day that is after noon. So we are having time of the days that are appearing before it is noon time, and we have the times of the day that are appearing after the noon time. So when the time of the day is before the noon time, then we write it as an AM time. But when it is after the noon time, then it means that it is in PM. So the other type of clock system we have is the 24-hour clock system. And with the 24-hour clock system, we are counting the number of hours in a day. We are not indicating the AM and the PM. We know that the number of hours in a day goes all the way to 24 hours. So we are counting all the way from the 000 hours to back to 24 hours. So we are counting all the way from the time it is 1 minute after midnight to when we will come back to the midnight. The most important part about the 24-hour clock system, this one is written in 4 digits. So here we have 4 digits, but in 12-hour clock system, it isn't necessarily in 4 digits. We have situations where we will have it in a digit that is less than 4. So we want to look at a comparison between the 12-hour system and the 24-hour clock system. So we are required to write the times that we've been given using the system that is shown in brackets. So the first time that I have is 1:30 p.m. This means that PM, it means that this is the time that is appearing after noon. So what does it mean? That there are already 12 hours that have been covered, and on top of the 12 hours, we have 1 hour 30 minutes ahead. So what does it mean? For me to convert these hours into 24-hour clock system, then it means that I'll add 12 to whatever digits I have before. So where these are indicating the minutes and these are hours. So I'll add on the side of hours so that I'm able to convert it from a 12-hour clock system to a 24-hour clock system. So this means that I have 130 plus 12 hours, that is 1200 hours. I'll come up with 1330 hours. So that means that 1:30 p.m. to 24-hour clock system is 1330 hours. Next we have 8:15 p.m. We are supposed to convert it to 24-hour clock system. So that means that p.m. meaning that we are having 8 hours 15 minutes past the noon. And from midnight to noon, we already have 12 hours. So that means that on my 8:15 that I've been given, we add 1200 hours. So this means that I have 8:15 plus 1200, which gives us 15, 10, 20. So we find that 12:15 p.m. in 24 hour, we have 20:15 hours. 06:30 hours, we need to convert it to AM or PM. 06:30 hours, this means that it is time before noon, and if it is time before noon, then we use AM. So these 06:30 hours will be equivalent to 6:30 AM. So next we have 10:23 AM. We need to convert it to 24 hours. So this means that we are having 10 hours past the midnight. So in 24-hour clock system, this will simply be 10:23 hours. For 14:29 hours, we are converting it to either AM or PM. So this means that these are 14 hours after the midnight. So this means we have 12 hours for the day, we have 12 hours for the night. So we have covered at 12 hours to noon has already been covered, and this means that there are extra hours past the noon. So for us to convert it to either AM or PM, we have 14:29 minus 12:00 hours, so that we find out the time that we have in either AM or PM. So this means that I have 29 minutes, then 2. So it is past noon, and since it is past noon, then it means that we have PM. So this will bring us to 2:29 PM. That is 29 minutes past 2. So the next question, we are required to write down the following times in hours and minutes. And the first time we have is 2.5 hours. So we need to convert 2.5 hours to hours and minutes, meaning we are having 2 hours and we also have an hour. So that means that I need to convert my half an hour into minutes. And we know that 60 minutes is equivalent to 1 hour. So what about a half an hour? How many minutes will it be? So this means that I'll have 60 times a half, and 60 times a half is 30 minutes. So that means 2.5 hours converted to hours and minutes will be 2 hours, 30 minutes. Next, we have 9.25 hours. We convert it into hours and minutes. So this means that I have 9 hours and some minutes. The part after the decimal point is what we are converting to minutes. So this will mean that we will have 0.25 hours that we need to convert to minutes. We already know that 60 minutes is equivalent to 1 hour. So what about 0.25 hours? 0.25 is the same as 25 over 100 times 60, because we are cross multiplying to convert it to minutes. So that I have 5 into 10 to 5 into 25, that is 5, 2 into 2, 1, 2 into 6, 3. So 5 times 3, we have 15 minutes. So converting 9.25 into hours will give us 9 hours, 15 minutes. Next, we have 6.5 hours. We need to convert it to hours and minutes. So we are considering the number after the decimal point, and that number is 0.5. So that means that we have 0.5 hours that we need to convert to minutes. So that's 60 minutes is equivalent to 1 hour. What about 0.5 hours? So this will mean that I have 0.5 times 60, and 0.5 is the same as 5 over 10 multiplied by 60, so that I have 0 and 0 will cancel out. 5 times 6 will give us 30. So this means that 6.5 hours is equivalent to 6 hours, 30 minutes. 3.75 hours, we convert it into hours and minutes. Considering the number after the decimal place, we have 0.75, so that gives us 0.75 hours that we need to convert to minutes. 60 minutes is 1 hour. What about 0.75 hours? So this will mean if I cross multiply, then I have 0.75 times 60. 0.75 is simply the same as 75 over 100 multiplied by 60, so that we have 2 into 10, 5 into 10 we have 2, 5 into 75, that is 25. So 2 into 2, 1, 2 into 6, 3. So we have 25 times 3, which gives us 5 into 75 is 15. So we have 15 times 3, which gives us 45 minutes. So this means that 3.75 hours is equivalent to 3 hours 45 minutes. So we are to write down the digital display of number of hours. We express them as a decimal. So an example that we have is 1:30. So this means that we are having 1 hour and 30 minutes. So we need to express them as a decimal. Then it means that I have to convert my minutes into hours. And we know that 60 minutes is 1 hour. So that means that what about 30 minutes? We will have 30 times 1 divided by 60. 3 into 3, 1. 3 into 6, 2. So we will have 0.5. So this means that if I express this as a decimal, then we will have 1 plus 0.5, and 1 plus 0.5 will give us 1.5 hours. Another example we have is 4:45. So we have 4:45. We need to express it as a decimal. So I have 45 minutes. That means that I convert the 45 minutes into hours. 60 minutes is 1 hour. What about 45 minutes? So that means that I have 45 times 1 divided by 60. 5 into 45, that is 9. 5 into 60, we have 12. 3 into 9, that is 3. 3 into 12, we have 4. 3 over 4, if converted to decimal, is 0.75. So this means that as a decimal, I'll have 4 plus 0.75, which gives us 4.75 hours. The next example we have is 7:15. So converting the 15 minutes into hours, we have 60 minutes is equivalent to 1 hour. What about 15 minutes? So that will mean if we cross multiply, we are having 15 times 1 divided by 60. 5 into 15, that is 3. 5 into 60, we have 12. 3 into 3, that is 1. 3 into 12, we have 4. So this means that we have 1 over 4. 1 over 4 converted to decimal is 0.25. So that means that 7:15 converted to a decimal, we have 7.25 hours. Next, we have 3:20. So 20 minutes, I convert them to hours. 60 minutes is 1 hour. What about 20 minutes? So this will mean if I cross multiply, I have 20 times 1 divided by 60. So 20 plus 1 over 60, we find that 0 and 0 will cancel out. Then we have 2 into 2, 1. 2 into 6 is 3. So we have 1/3 as a fraction. A decimal will bring about a recurring decimal, so that we have 0.3 that is recurring. So that it means that 320 converted to a decimal will be 3.3 hours. So we are required to round off the following times that we've been given to the nearest hours. So we have the first one is 1:32 p.m. So we need to round it off to the nearest hour. So that means that we are going to look at the number of minutes we have. If our minutes are 30 and above, then it means we will round up our hour. But if our minutes are below 30, then our hour is rounded down. So this means that I have 1:32, and we get that 32 is more than 30. So this means that 1:32 is approximately 2 p.m. The next one, we are having 12:19 hours. So the minutes in this case are 19, and 19 is less than 30. So being the fact that it is less than 30, so it means it will round down our hours so that we will have 12:00 hours. So far we've been looking at the units that are used in time, and we've talked about seconds as the standard unit of time. Then when you are given seconds, or you are given any other unit of time and required to convert it from one unit to another, then we will use the conversions that we have, such that 60 minutes will be equivalent, 60 seconds will be equivalent to 1 minute. 60 minutes is 1 hour. 24 hours will give us a day, and 7 days will give us a week. 4 weeks will give us a month, and 12 months will give us a year. So looking at that conversion given in any unit of time, we should be in a position to convert the units of time from one unit to another. Thank you for your attention.